After 4 years of running a successful membership business, award-winning dog trainer and entrepreneur Tyler Muto is revealing the strategies that helped him build and grow his membership into the thriving business it is today. I got to ask him some of the most burning questions that creators have about running a successful membership. So sit, stay, and enjoy.
I'm a dog trainer by trade. That's sort of what I built my career as. And I used to just do this out of my car or driving around. And then I eventually grew and eventually purchased a brick and mortar facility. And for many years, I ran a very busy dog behavior center with employees and the whole thing. Around that time, I also started getting a lot of recognition for some of the video content that I was putting out, primarily on YouTube at that time, because this was before Facebook had really taken off the way it has now. I started getting asked to teach seminars. So did that for many years, traveled around the world, taught seminars primarily for other professionals. And then around 2016 or 2017 was the first time I got asked to produce an online course and DVD for another company. So I got my feet wet kind of producing more formal content in that way. And then as we were just talking about how we both have kids, and my son was born in 2015, my daughter in 2017, and especially as we were preparing for my daughter to be born, I kind of knew I didn't want to be traveling as much teaching seminars. That's when I decided I wanted to do more in the online video world and sort of take what I was teaching in person in seminars, but kind of turn it into video content. And although I was very happy working with the company that had hired me to do some DVDs and courses, there were some limitations there as well. And some things that I wanted to be able to do that I didn't have the flexibility to do while I was sort of working with them. And so I basically just said, well, what if I created my own platform that had all the things I liked and some of the things that I wish I had? What if I created something that had the flexibility that I was sort of looking for and made it also available for other instructors as well? That was like 2018 when I officially launched, I think, Consider the Dog on Uscreen. So I've been with you guys for, this is 4 years now. I actually sold the training center this past year. So I don't have that as a business. I don't have that over my head anymore. Primarily, I do this, and then I still do a lot of more one-on-one coaching and consulting for professionals, sort of separately from Consider the Dog, just through my own website and through Zoom and stuff like that.
How did you make the decision to go off and have your own platform versus continuing to maybe license the content to a third party, or maybe just go into straight producing your own courses with a course platform? Like, how was it that you kind of navigated that and ended up with where you are today?
Some of it has to do with, I think, just the nature of the work that we do. So as a dog trainer, my specialty is dealing with behavior problems. That's really how I got my name. Was becoming well known for dealing with some very challenging dogs. And the one of the big challenges when I was working for another company producing DVDs and online courses was that everything kind of needs to be planned in advance. And then you go and you do 4 or 5 days of filming and then editing and post-production, and off you go. And so much of what we do in behavior can't really be planned in advance. Like, we can't make a dog do X, Y, and Z, right? Like, we just sort of sometimes have to wait for moments to arise. And so part of what was happening was, I was given a certain royalty rate or commission rate on my content, and they had video production and editors, but to get the content the way I wanted, I kind of still needed to be able to do a lot of my own filming and editing and just be able to produce things on the fly and grab little snippets of things and add them in. And I didn't have that flexibility. So I wanted something that allowed me to be a little bit more flexible, but also where I could be a little bit more compensated for that extra time that I was putting in. What I loved about Uscreen was it allowed me to have sort of single purchase items, kind of more robust courses, but also just have the membership where, we can just be putting stuff out there. And it's behind, that membership screens. Sometimes I'll have periods of a few months where I don't upload anything new, and then I'll have a spree where we're uploading new stuff like every week or every other week. And sometimes they're just little 20-minute segments. Sometimes it's a little 5-minute video. Sometimes we just have a video up and we want to go and make a change to it. We want to add something to it. And I just wanted that flexibility. So that was the big driver for me. The transition was kind of straightforward because I was already, had a lot of stuff on YouTube. I had already had some experience now with like what it took to put together a more organized online course. And so it really was just a matter of, I think, again, like finding the right platform for me. And, everybody's going to have different needs, but for me, you guys worked out really well.
Where did that initial audience come from?
YouTube played a big part in like how I grew my following initially. We were, as Facebook became more developed, we were on Facebook as well. But, part of it's the YouTube algorithm. And I think part of it, I always say, is a little bit of like kind of right place and right time. Like when I first started putting a lot of my content on YouTube, there was not as many dog trainers on there as there are today. And so it was a little bit easier to stand out, right? I think there's like two bits of content that are like really powerful. One is showing before and after, in whatever field you're in, whether it's dog training, like it's easy in dog training, right? You show a dog dragging its owner down the street on leash, and then you show a dog an hour later walking nicely at its owner's side. Like that's easy. But if you're in the yoga space, for instance, like showing somebody who had limited flexibility and then showing an image of them, 2 months later able to touch their toes, right? Showing results, I think, really matters. And especially in the world we're in now, where there's just a lot of talk out there, right? Like there's just a lot of people, everybody claims to be the number one in this industry or that industry, but like at the end of the day, like either they can demonstrate results or they can't. So I think that's huge. And the other one that I think, among people that are successful with making business, out of video, like this is no surprise, but for people that maybe are struggling a little bit, the value of putting out information for free, like making some free videos that are useful and practical, where people can watch it and go, oh, I can take tips from that, and that's going to benefit what I'm trying to do with my dog today. Or I can go and teach that quick little thing to my dog. I can see where that would be useful. And allowing people to get a little taste of your teaching style, but also see that like if they follow your direction, like it works. And then they start to go, well, geez, like if that's what he's willing to give away for free, like I wonder what I get if I actually pay. And that combined with some before and after stuff, like that sort of was like that's how I grew my business at the end of the day. I mean, that's how I grew my brick and mortar business. That's how I grew my professional training business, where I was teaching seminars and now doing a lot of one-on-one coaching. And it's, I think, what led to us being able to launch our online platform and sort of hit the ground running, because again, people were already so familiar with what to expect out of videos that I make. It wasn't a leap of faith for people to sign up with me. It was, we know what we're going to get here.
Are you still creating content and publishing on YouTube today?
The Consider the Dog channel is really more of us promoting, like we use that a lot. Like we'll take snippets out of courses and put them out there for free. One thing that we've really enjoyed, we actually just hit our 1-year anniversary of it, but using the live streaming feature on Uscreen, and we do twice a month, we do a live stream with one of our instructors. We have about 10 or so instructors for Consider the Dog, and where people can ask questions and actually, engage with the instructors in real time. And we take portions of those recordings because we have them closed off only to our members, but we'll take portions of those and put them on YouTube to give people a taste of what we're offering. It's rare these days that we would put something on YouTube for Consider the Dog that isn't a part of something that's living on the website.
Consider the Dog is set up in membership tiers with kind of 3 different tiers today. How did you decide on those 3 tiers and what content was going to be assigned to each?
It's less like membership tiers, but I think it is like tiers is a good way to describe it. So because again, I always sort of recognize the value of having some free stuff out there. I wanted there to be stuff on the website that if somebody just came to the website, they can just watch some videos without having to commit to anything and just get them on the site, right? Like just here's some stuff. And then, we can kind of go from there. So we have a free, like that's the first tier, it's just free. And then the meat and potatoes tier is the stuff that's included with our monthly subscription.
Okay.
That's our bread and butter. That's really what we focus on most. Uh, Occasionally, either myself or one of my instructors will put together a course that's just a little bit too much to be able to offer for like that low monthly fee, because somebody could in theory just join for a month, watch the whole thing, and like it's just too much information to give away at that cost. And so those things, go into our last tier, which is what we call our premium content, which um, will include stuff that is, separate purchase. Now, a couple of things about that tier. There are quite a few things in there that are still available as part of membership, but we also wanted people to, maybe there are some people who just, some people are like I don't want to be subscribed to something. I don't want to have to remember to cancel this. But that's an interesting course and it stands good by itself. And so we wanted people to have some things that were worth making available to just be purchased if somebody didn't want to do the membership. Again, a 5-minute video is not going to fall into that category, even a 20-minute video. But if it's a 7-hour course, or I have a few things that are like hour-long courses that I actually include in the membership. But if somebody didn't want to do a membership, they stand on their own. And so we made them that they could be purchased on their own. Anybody who is a member, we give discount codes if they want to purchase anything that requires extra purchase. So as part of their membership, one of the benefits, we have several benefits. One of them is 20% off if they want to purchase any of the stuff that's not included with the membership, so they can get a discount there.
Got it. And then you mentioned the 2 monthly live streams. Are those included with the kind of the monthly, or is that like a premium type of add-on?
Nope, that's included with the monthly. We try to provide as much, because the monthly members, like those are my people. Like those are the people that sustain us. Those are the people that keep us running. So we really try to take care of them as much as possible. So there's really only a couple of courses that aren't included with that membership. And they're like, it's because they're just like really long. And like we put so much time and effort into them. But 95% of the content on the site is available to members for a very low cost. The live streams are available to members. We have a private Facebook group where members can ask questions. They can upload videos of them working with their dogs, and myself and other instructors will give feedback on it. So we try to do a lot of member benefits because that's just where it's at. I mean, those people are the people that are going to come back time and time again. Those are the people that are going to share your site with other people. We've had members that have been with us for years, and we love that. We want to keep them.
What part of the experience do your customers rave about when it comes to your membership?
And then I think the live streams have been great. People love them. We get great viewership on them. When we look at our analytics, I mean, the numbers are really high on the live stream. So people are really enjoying them. They're engaging. Our instructors enjoy doing it too, which is really good. But it just allows us to go deeper, because again, in an online course, you can only get into so many of the little what ifs and nuances and details. Right. When you're dealing with something as dynamic as animal behavior, it's not paint by numbers. There's the sort of joke among dog trainers is like when you're teaching a class or something, it's like no matter what the question is, the answer is always starts with, it depends on the dog. Always. Because it's just like, context is king, right? And so those live streams, between the live streams and the Facebook, it really gives the members a lot of support. And I think that's what keeps people, like why we've had members for years. Even when we've had periods of 2 or 3 months of no new content, they're sticking around because we're always sharing, we're always helping them grow, we're always offering support.
You mentioned you've got a number of trainers who contribute to Consider the Dog. How do you go about managing those contributors and authors and their contributions to the platform and dealing with everything that comes with that?
Yeah, so part of the way I designed it when I was setting it up is I really wanted to give people a lot of control and flexibility over their own content. And I think that's what makes it nice about having like the premium tier, but also like the membership tiers and things like that. Because again, I have some contributors that's like, they're not going to put out a 2-hour-long course, but they'll send me, a handful of little 15-minute, bite-sized, very useful, practical, demonstrations and tips. And then other people that want to put together like a real banger, and they're like, I can't give this away for, we charge $19.99 a month, right? I can't give this away for that. So then we have that option for them too. And then we also offered different tiers as far as the royalties that we pay out based on who does the production. So if they do all their own production and are sending us basically a finished product, that's a different payout versus, you know, we can go and do filming and do the editing and handle that end of things. And it's a different payout amount, right? But ultimately it's like, it's really easy. Like the way we have it structured, we just use some kind of back end coding on the file names. So we know like whether it goes into the pool from, you know, membership or whether it's, you know, premium and what the payout percentage is. And I basically just have an Excel spreadsheet that once a month I just plug in my numbers and it spits out what I owe everybody. And I just write a bunch of checks.
Would you say that having these additional contributors has somewhat reduced the burden on you to produce more content?
100%. Yeah. It's one of the greatest things about it. Right. Is that, you know, again, there are months where I'm going to make less personally because a huge portion of the membership fees are going to my contributors because they've put out new content and I haven't. Or they're the ones that are doing, you know, like they're the featured guest on the live stream. Sometimes I'm the featured guest, but sometimes somebody else is. And, but I'm okay with that because again, I'd rather have that, but like I'm keeping the members because we have, you know, more contributors rolling out stuff. But it's also, it's like, I think from the consumer standpoint, like we live in a day and age where everybody's trying to go digital these days, right? And there's like Patreon and Kajabi and Teachable and like all these different ways for everybody as an individual to monetize their content. And it's like, if I'm a consumer and it's like, okay, well, I can go and I can sign up for this person's Patreon and it's $15 a month, but then there's also this person over here and it's $20 a month and this person over here, or there's this central hub called Consider the Dog, and there's like a ton of really high quality instructors on there that are very much curated, right? Like I don't let just anybody, like it's all people that I've kind of handpicked. And it's only $20 like that's a no-brainer to me. Like that's just an absolute no-brainer. So from a consumer standpoint, I just also wanted that.
What marketing strategies or approaches have you used to grow and build Consider the Dog since you launched 4 years ago?
I think that the big thing for us has been, you know, putting stuff that's valuable out there for free. Like that's been kind of like the biggest thing. And when we see something performing well, so like often what we'll do is we'll take a snippet from a course. And again, it's got to be a snippet that actually stands on its own 2 feet, that somebody can watch it and take something practical away from it. We don't want to just put out stuff that's just promotional, right? It's got to have value. And if we put out something and we see that like organically, like it's working, like people are liking it, people are commenting, it's getting shares, then we might take that thing and like boost it or turn it into a little bit of a paid promotion or, you know, embed it into a landing page and try to drive people to that landing page and things like that. But the big thing is just like, again, like putting enough free stuff out there has been sort of our bread and butter for marketing. One of the other things that's been really powerful for us is webinars. So just making some again, practical webinars. And there's 2 ways to do it. One that's worked very well is, again, we'll offer the webinar live only to our members. And we'll get a lot of people that will join because they want to be part of that webinar. And then the goal is, can we keep them for more than a month? Right? That's our job, is to make sure we're providing enough value that they go, wow, like I only planned on joining for the 1 month to do the webinar, but like now I can't imagine not having this community, right? But you can also do webinars for free and then use it as like a, you know, hey, to register for this webinar, you've got to submit your email address and then you can remarket to those people. And we do that with some of our free videos that are on the site too. We have some of them where they're free, but you have to at least create like a free account, because then at least we get your email address and we can remarket you. Not all the free videos are like that, but some of like the real choice ones, just 1 or 2, just a way for us to grab some extra email addresses. We're utilizing social media to show tastes of our content, not just promotion. Really, there's an overemphasis on just promoting what you're doing and not enough emphasis on giving a taste of what you're doing. You know, it's like when you go to the mall and you walk past the food court and the guys at like especially like the Chinese and Japanese places, it seems like they always got a guy standing out front giving you a sample. They want to get that taste in your mouth, and you go, you're like looking around, but you still have that teriyaki taste in your mouth, and now you want more of it, right? Like it's just kind of that, and that's we don't pay for a lot of advertising. I tried for a few months. I signed up with a company that was helping me just get a better presence on Google, and I wasn't getting great ROI on it, to be honest with you. Whereas just doing what we can for free and then occasionally throwing some money behind the kind of posts that perform well. Again, we're going to play around with the free trial option coming up here. And then other than that, we just do some like, your seasonal and like holiday discount type stuff. And we always get a nice little boost around those times.
I know you have mobile apps for Consider the Dog. What led to making that decision? And then what have you seen as a result?
Obviously, one of the big things that I think I would never even consider using a platform that wasn't mobile friendly to begin with. So your experience even before the mobile apps was very mobile friendly. I think if anything, the mobile apps allow us to reach a little bit of a different audience. I think some people find us through the mobile apps that it's a different experience. And I think, again, if they can download the app for free and there's some free content available, it gives them that little bit of taste. I think for a lot of it, it's just, again, we want the people that are already paying us to have the best user experience possible. And so if the app gives them another option to have an improved user experience, then to me, that's great, because really, getting somebody to sign up for your membership is one thing. Keeping them as a member is another thing. And it's the people that you keep, like those members are worth everything. So you just really want to take care of them. You want to do anything you can to improve their experience, because that's the whole point of a subscription service, is recurring revenue, right? So it's not passive. Like people do these things. They're like, I want to earn passive income. Like it's not passive. It's not passive. It's a lot of work. We put a lot of thought into it. We value those people. So I think that's the big thing for me with the apps, is like, I didn't really look to the apps as like, oh, the apps are going to be a game changer. Like that's going to skyrocket our membership. It was just like, hey, like our members are probably going to like this. It adds a professional feel. And I think that's what it comes down to. Take care of your people.
If you were sitting in a ballroom full of other people who are running their membership business, and you had to distill or share like the number one most impactful thing you've learned and implemented and benefited from in the last 4 years of running Consider the Dog, what would you share with those people?
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And this is something I come across a lot with a lot of even people just to produce video, like for social media, to promote their own local businesses and whatnot. They're always afraid to put it out because it's not just right, or they're waiting to you're never going to like your first pieces of content that much. When I watch my early online courses, like I cringe when I watch them. It's horrible, right?
Right.
But you have to start somewhere. And I think one of the beautiful things about the digital media world is like you can change it at any time. And especially when it's on something like Uscreen, where it's not like people are downloading it. Like you have full control. Like nothing is going to live out there in eternity that you don't want to live out there in eternity. So just start, because you'll build a body of work, and eventually you'll look back, you go, I'm going to delete some of my early stuff. It's not as good anymore. When we first launched Consider the Dog, we didn't have that much content, but you guys had membership tiers available where the overhead was pretty low, and we could just start somewhere. And we would just put up, a lot of it was like raw, like just really like 5-minute videos, but we were just doing it, starting to build that following.
Last question. Do you enjoy the work you do?
I do. Yeah, I really love it. There was getting to a point where I was not enjoying as much like the hands-on dog training with just like dog owners. It was getting a little bit monotonous to me. I love working with other professionals, and I love producing the video content and working with our community, because we're just able to go deeper. And then of course, like it just gives me so much freedom. Like that was kind of my big thing when I had kids. My priorities changed a lot. I went from being extremely career oriented and extremely ambitious with my career to being very like dad oriented and ambitious with what I want to accomplish as a parent. And that's a big priority of mine for me. My son just got off the bus, and I like being able to be home with my kids and be there and do the parent teacher conferences. Like I'm into that. And then it also allows me to be a really great husband to my wife, because she's very career oriented and she's an attorney. And not all the burden is on her for a lot of the stuff that I think traditionally falls into the female role in parenting. That I'm able to take some of that. And that's kind of my big thing right now is like, I want to be like the absolute best dad I can be and the absolute best husband I can be. And if I can make a good living while doing those things, then like I've lived well as far as I'm concerned. I kind of got to a point in my career where I was like, I'm making a decent amount of money. The only thing I really want more of now is time. So how can I do that? And I think doing the digital, platforms has really allowed me to leverage my time in a different way, while still serving people. Like I still feel like I'm helping the dog training community.